Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike Jones. Are you over your trip yet?
No, I'm not over my trip. I could go to sleep right now and wake up tomorrow morning. I could get jet lag on the ground. It's the strangest thing. Whenever I do one of these marathon trips where and I used to be used to this sort of thing. Back when I would go to like LA from here almost every week, and because we had our production studio was up here, but the broadcast studio was in Hollywood. So
That's a
we're
long trip.
back.
Killer.
It's about 800 miles.
Yeah.
And and when you do that, okay, you go down there on like a Thursday, or in a strange case, we'd go down on a Friday and do the shows all day Saturday until, and there was like 7 shows with little breaks in between. And then at the end of the day, we bail out of there and drive all the way home.
Hey,
Yeah.
flying
Yeah.
low all the way back.
And I'd have a 2-day recovery period. Well, now, since I haven't really been doing that much driving, I can accomplish the same thing by going down to Napa and back, and then I come back and I'm
Yeah,
so,
it is a
anyway.
shorter trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now our show tonight is going to be about lessons learned. Some people don't like lessons learned, and so you're not going to watch this show. Good night. See you tomorrow night. Okay.
I before E, except after C. I remember that somehow.
Yes, it's an important lesson. E equals
A
MC
lesson I
squared.
learned.
That was mine. Okay.
Yes. Please explain E equals MC squared to us, will you?
Sure. Let's have anybody try to explain it to us. Okay. All right. There was a meeting last Friday, and which certain people were bolstered 100%, and others were beaten to death with the rhetoric that was there. To me, it's very much like a football game. A football game was played in Grants Pass last Friday night, and we got handed our heads. Many people did. Not everybody, because I can understand the issues on both sides. Now it's Saturday night, and time to go over the game footage. This is a great analogy. Time to go over the game footage and talk about lessons learned. Now, it doesn't mean we all have to sit around going, oh, they bust people in. When a team comes in from another town, they very often bust them in. What do you expect? You don't know about buses? You can't run a bus? Come on now. So snap out of it.
Or at the very least, you have an organization going where you have a list, you call people, you say, hey, listen, the thing is today. I mean, Democrats understand this. They have and they run through this list for any given event or voting day. They're calling people up. Hey, are you going to vote? Do you need a ride to the poll or whatever? I mean, they do all that kind of stuff. And hello, you had better catch up. Anybody who's doing something, this is how it's done nowadays. And if you want to get action, and here's the sad truth about that, is that there is a small number of dedicated people, and their will is what runs the day, because they're the ones who organized and make this thing happen. Had they not been there to make that happen, it wouldn't have happened. So a very small number of people can have a huge effect. So don't worry that you think that there's not enough people who think the same way you do, because if you organize and you use social media and you use email and you use the telephone, you can get people to show up for this kind of thing, understanding that it's a big deal.
But Mike, I don't like their lesson, and I don't want to learn anything from these people. Get over it. Okay,
well,
really,
and that's fine. That's fine, but just be used to disappointment.
Yes, exactly right. I was a Democrat, and now I'm a nothing. And Mike was a Republican, and now he's a nothing. Okay, but there are reasons for that. Okay,
I
because
I
my party
I
let
I
me
have an issue with your analysis there.
saying that, that you're a nothing. Okay, but look,
Yes,
here's the point.
I agree with
If
the
if
part about you though.
if you show up at the game, well, they're beating us. I don't think I'm going to get up off the bench. You're at the game. You're on the sideline. You're a tough warrior, okay, woman or man. And I don't think I'm going to get up because they're beating us. You know what? You're pathetic if that's what you're doing. You need to get up anyway, and you need to learn a couple lessons. So last Friday night was the game. This is the
It was
Saturday night
actually
following
Thursday,
it.
by the way.
As I say,
Yes.
didn't everybody out there heard me? Last Thursday night was the game.
Yeah.
Now here's Saturday, the following Saturday. Look, don't look for perfect analogies. And so what we need to do is we're going to look at the game footage. This isn't a game setup. We're going to look at the game footage. We're going to look at them about 3 at a time. And then we're going to say, all right, what have we learned? Now, look, this is a lesson for everybody, whether you're into animal rights and let's free the slaves from their chains, whatever, or you're talking about women's rights, or you're talking about anti-abortion, or you're talking about pro-choice, whatever you're talking about. If you feel like you're getting your lunch money taken on a daily basis, learn some lessons from the successful group that got together and just gave us a drubbing. Anybody from this point of view, or anybody that wanted compromise, that's what I was there for. Well, what about a little bit of compromise? No, most people were saying no compromise. Okay, then let's learn some lessons. We're going to play back the tape. We're going to go through it. It doesn't necessarily mean that I am on one side or another. It does mean that Mike is, but that's okay. And then we're going to talk about what it is that they're doing, what's successful about those tactics, and why can't you do that? Okay? Why can't you? Last thing is, many times people would say, well, when I was a Democrat, they say, those Democrats, they're rounding up voters and bringing them in buses. Okay. Well, I don't like that. Look, once again, you've never heard of a bus? There's nobody that agrees with your point of view that you could force onto a bus at gunpoint? Really? Nobody? And take them down to the poll? We don't even need to do that now. We're voting by mail, but you can't organize anybody. Learn a little community organization. Oh, that sounds like Obama. Successful 2 times.
Yeah, listen. You know what? If you see stuff that works, you go with that. It doesn't matter. Listen, everybody wants to believe that their way is right and moral, and that moral people sharing a common moral code will all turn out for the same thing. It isn't true.
Well, they also
in
turned out, but
some
then they said
cases,
nothing. They turned out they were there. They turned out, but then they didn't get up. What?
yeah.
That's pathetic.
Well, and they were greatly outnumbered. There isn't any question about that.
I know what that's like.
But this wasn't high caliber stuff. I mean, we had kids reading stuff off of paper and given a little thing that they memorized or something like that. I mean, this is not high caliber stuff. You could have come in and nuked it with some logic if that's what you intended to bring.
But you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't. And here's something that bothers me. And this is, it ties in with this protest that was happening yesterday at Alan Bates' office. The turnout was really bad.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot. Well, first of all, people think that the only people that are affected by this are these little minors that want to do, and when you have a coalition that's that small, you're going to lose. And unfortunately, there wasn't enough people that showed up for that see that there's a greater thing going. Anytime there's this encroachment of greater, gratuitous regulation, I think that you just have to turn out. You should turn out to say no to that, because all it is a little teeny step forward. Pretty soon, it doesn't matter where you live in Josephine County. They're going to tell you what you can plant in your front yard. They're going to tell you, not only do I need you to hook this meter up at your house on your well, but I need you to tie that into your phone line and stuff so that we can call the meter up and check how much you're using, and then call and remind you if you're using too much or something like that. I mean, all of this stuff is coming. If you don't think it is, you just don't understand the nature of government.
Well, also, as you travel into Portland, we need to know that you're there and what time you're there,
yes,
because that has a thing to do with central planning. Yes, wonderful idea. And so we're going to need to track where you are and where you're going. And oh, by the way, that'll be good for
your papers.
Think about the children. It'll be good for safety, because then we can track down pedophiles. Just because we're tracking everybody, they don't get upset. Don't worry about it. That's how it starts. And so let's learn some lessons. Look,
listen, who said it? Those who trade liberty for security
deserve neither. Yes,
deserve neither. I mean, it's like this is what you're doing in one way or the other. I mean, when you meet this stuff with apathy, it's the same thing as saying yes to it.
Okay, so here's your first lessons. I don't tune into the show for lessons. I want to be entertained. Well, you're not going to get any entertainment here. You should know that by now.
Yes, if you've been watching this show, you understand you aren't getting that.
No, you're not. But look, if it's too much trouble or just too biting to listen to somebody from another point of view and learn lessons from them, then you've already failed, bud. So, I mean, would you please watch this and let's figure out what they're doing, and we'll all act like we're out to protect the animals, okay? And we don't have a dog in this fight. Ooh, good analogy, deal. We don't have a dog in a fight. We're out to protect animals, and we're going to learn lessons from a successful campaign that kicked the butts of minors. Sorry to be so scatological. Kicked the butts of minors on last Thursday night, and let's learn lessons. Go ahead, Mike. Start playing back some of that beautiful bean footage.
Outdated mining laws that may have worked 150 years ago won't work today.
The mining industry is the most polluting industry that is not only bad for our precious rivers, but also for the workers that work there and the people that live nearby. I really love everything that is alive, and I want them to stay alive. Thank you.
For these biological and ecological issues, they are the key issues of our times. Within a few decades, frankly, people aren't going to have the luxury to get together and debate whether it's important to protect their clean water or not, because it's going to be all too apparent. I'm really sorry that that's true, and a lot of people here know that's true, and it's our job to make sure everybody else out there knows it too.
Gasquet, Crescent City, and the majority of Delaware County get their drinking water from the Smith River, and there are millions of dollars in sport fishing, recreation economies, and other tourism dollars that rely on the high water qualities that we find in the Smith River, and the Smith River has become known for.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that we see here, remember, now we're all part of the coalition to save the animals now. Okay. So one is they brought in little kids that their logic was a little bit lacking. Somebody handed them something and they read it out with
but they're
heart.
Children.
Yes.
And so that's supposed to, that trumps the logic angle. It's their children. And listen, this tactic, how long have they been using it's the children or it's for the children tactic?
Absolutely. And there's very few people in our audience that are so hard-hearted that doesn't tug at them at all, really. Now, we can use our logic, but there's another part of our brain that says, that's kind of endearing that these children are saying such things. Look, out of the mouths of babes.
Right.
And I'm not that kind of babes.
Listen,
these are babies.
That's why babies are cute.
Yeah.
So parents don't kill them.
So you won't throw them out.
Keep them up all night long.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, if they were ugly and diseased or what,
the baby.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but it is an effective tactic. Now, you can imagine that these children could just as well be saying, but we need to protect our little animals. They're smaller and cuter than, remember, we're
Yes.
now part of the coalition to save the animals. And this is the kind of thing that can be done. Yes, overwhelming numbers does make a difference. But if you don't have overwhelming numbers, or you can't get them up off their sofa to get there to that meeting, or they're at the meeting and they won't get up, okay, enough with that. Then what you do is you start using children, and you hand them a little script, or you teach them what to say. They sort of forget a little bit about it, but they're endearing. And now the last lady I thought was very interesting. She got up and she said, well, I think that we all agree here. Very effective tactic. So it's playing to the crowd. But as this meeting went on, people got more and more worked up. Well, they realized that they were all there for the same reason. And it's preaching to the choir, yes, but it gets them revved up. I understand that she feels that her logic is the most important thing, and okay, she's right. But also, on another hand, it doesn't matter whether she's right or not. This is a tactic for having a meeting where, see, by the time this was over, those legislators that had come down from the north probably thinking, oh boy, we're going to get our head handed to us in Grants Pass. No, they didn't. As far as they know, we're all of one mind, because it sure sounded like it, didn't it, Mike? You were there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's an opportunity to learn a lesson here about symbology and about getting the crowd going and about looking like, even if it's not true. See, the big thing that they missed out yesterday when we were there in front of Alan Bates' office is there were a couple of guys I like very much. I respect them. And they stayed out there with their signs and they were protesting. And there were probably, a couple hundred people driving by in cars that saw them. And they didn't come in front of the camera. But one of the things we know, and we're not trying to stage manage this, I'm not trying to fake anything. We're telling you now that they weren't overwhelming numbers. We could have made it look that way. You just clump them all together, you zoom in, and it makes it look like it's thousands of people when it's not. Like Larry Graves at the airport.
The media does that all the time when they want you to believe that thousands of people showed up for something.
The Million Man March, right?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
there weren't a million men. Okay, but we could have done that, but that's not what we do. So we showed you what actually happened. But the thing is, what they don't realize, and the thing that happened on this meeting too, is that, well, we're outnumbered. You know what? By the time we shoot the video, if it was a regular television station, which we're not, it wouldn't matter if there were 10,000 people or 10 people, because if you put up a head and shoulder shot, similar to what this is, a little less, and you've got your 4 people that speak for something, it might as well be 4,000, because all that's going to last forever, the internet, YouTube videos, that's going to last a lot. Okay, as the judge says, there's nothing permanent, but that's going to last a lot longer than a couple hundred people in the end basket with no television coverage.
Right.
So would you please think now? I'm not saying to do it for us. That's bull. Okay, think of who is your audience and who are you trying to reach. If you're only trying to reach the people in the room, you got it. Success. If you're trying to reach the larger population, would you please consider trying to manipulate the media instead of letting the media manipulate you? Next.
The strong native fish runs of Chinook, Coho, Cutthroat, Sea Run, Going, Steelhead, and what's good for the fish is good for humans, and it's a big economic factor for us in this valley and outside on the coastline, so thank you. I support the withdrawal strongly from a scientific perspective and support conserving the scientific values of this region.
I came over here from Curry County to just tell you guys all that we had a huge turnout last night with 200 people, 60 people all spoke in favor of mineral withdrawal. We all live downstream. The culture over there where the Wild Rivers Coast, we love our rivers and fish. Our economy is based on rivers and fish. And so there's just overwhelming support for keeping the values of what we have that's so special, our extraordinary wild and scenic rivers. And so I just want to say, our group, a lot of people over there support it, and I want to thank our congressmen and senators for introducing the legislation, and thank the Forest Service and BLM for allowing us to comment. Thank you.
We have a volunteer local homeland security. Terrorists come in many sizes and in many shapes. These foreign mining companies, how can I be nervous in front of all these people? I mean,
30 seconds.
30 seconds, thank you. These foreign mining companies, whether legitimate or not, are like vultures circling apathy. We need to remain vigilant.
Okay, that last lady is the wife, the paramour, the whatever, the partner of Mort Mondale. He had a famous brother, right? And that's Elaine Wood.
Mm.
And Elaine used a little bit of humor in her presentation, which is always a nice idea. I don't think it was so choreographed. They just, okay, humor inserted here. No, it didn't really work that way. But what the one guy said is he said, now, you said, you know, a fish, something about it's important. The fish is important to human life. Look, here we are in this coalition of people promoting animals. Animals are the center of the community. They're the heart of the community. The libraries are the heart of the community. The airports, the heart of the community. 4-H is the heart of the community. Everybody says that. It's bull, but they say it, and there's going to be certain people that react to that. Yeah, you know, it really is the heart of the community. It's an effective organizing tool. You can't say that? Yeah, you're above saying such things. It's true that all these things, we apparently have many hearts, and they're bleeding. Come on now. This was very effective when they said that. And they're, yes, playing to the audience, but they're saying little bits of pieces of things that are 100% true, and a little bit of hyperbole, which is not so true, and then some outrageous things were absolutely not true. And when you blend them all together, it's a wonderful melange.
Yeah, and then of course it doesn't really matter because you stacked up the numbers.
Right. And you notice how they were coming from out of town. That's not fair. They're coming from out of town. Brother, listen. Do you know nobody from out of town that believes in animal rights the same way that you do? You can't bring them in from out of town. It was impressive to hear that these people came from Northern California. They came from the coast. They came from outer Slobovia. It was impressive. And even though you might think it's cheating, which it's not cheating. These people feel the same way, and they made this trip. There were people yesterday, a couple that came from Portland.
Yeah.
To show up in front of Alan Bates' office. Now, there was a little problem. He was willing to speak. Very short little thing. Well, I think it's a good idea. Thank you very much. And she was not willing to say anything. You drive 4 hours. Okay, God bless her. But you're not willing to say anything after driving 4 hours. I mean, you'll hold a sign, but not saying, come on now. Where's, a few people are going to see you standing in front of Alan. He wasn't even there. A few people are going to see you with your little signs. I don't like it. Okay. All right. Congratulations for doing that. Now, would you please speak forever to everybody else and tell them why you felt so strongly to drive 4 hours? Tell us your story.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
To stand up for our values, you know, and rather than having corporations dictate to us and spoil us. You know, we're Americans are probably more spoiled than any individual of any other country. You know, 25% of our resources. You know, only 5% of us, we use 25% of the resources in the world. So anyway, we'll have more information I'll share with you. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ron Gibson. I'm
Okay.
Yeah. We were going to stop.
Yeah.
We're not playing the main proponent at the beginning or the main opponent at the end. What we're trying to do is show all the people in between. Ron got up and rather nervously told everybody that they were kind of full of it and 11 reasons why. But Gunter Ambron, he's not the world's most dynamic speaker, but he does know how to relate to the audience and say something like, you know, well, I'm pretty sure that we all agree that we need to do something together. This is effective. Mike?
Yeah.
Thank you for the editorial comment. Okay, now.
Listen, there's only so much you can do with this. I mean, obviously, they're, you know, these people, they came in, they had something to say. Other people, to counter them, didn't say anything.
Okay.
You know, I mean.
Play the next, let's see what we can learn from these lessons, from the game footage here. Go ahead and play the next set, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia, and I'm an artist and healer for the Ashland. And I spent a lot of years out in the wilderness with groups doing outdoor education, and I just want to bring in the presence of the healing property of the wilderness on the psyche.
Thank you. Let's come together to protect this clean water. I'm a young woman, and I want to ensure that, know, my future children, my grandchildren, they have clean water, they have clean air. Look around you, the air is smoky. There's a drought going on. We have to protect this water.
Now, try not to laugh.
The legacy of money can sneak up and leave its mark at any time and anyone involved. It's a legacy I desperately hope we don't give to our children and our world. Do we really want mining jobs and dirty money in Southern Oregon? Do we really want the legacy of illness?
Well, you know what's interesting is that, you know, ever since I was old enough to vote, they flog you with this clean water, clean air, clean water, clean air. And in none of those circumstances were the cleanliness of the water or the air at risk, ever, during that entire time.
Now you're being sucked into this actual meeting instead of the lessons learned. I understand.
Oh, no. I'm pointing something out. You get nailed with that constantly, and there's an agenda that comes in behind it. It's the same thing as using it's for the children. It's the same thing.
Right. And notice that the couple of the speakers were talking about the value of having, we'll change the venue slightly, the value of having these little lives within your life, because they teach you so many lessons, these animals do. Sorry to do a sing-song voice. It's true. They do. I learned lessons, and Mike does too. He's got animals in his house. And they teach us lessons, and we need to protect their little lives. And so what is that tactic? What that's doing is that's saying, well, you know, a lot of people could agree with you about that. That's good. And what you're fighting for is just for those little lives, and they can't speak for themselves. Like Grandma Aggie here said, I'm here to speak for the fish. Yes, okay. Right. Fish aren't quite as lovable as a kitten, but okay. And they're kind of scaly, you know, when you think about it. And they got lots of bones in them. Ooh, not supposed to talk about that.
Slimy too.
Yeah, they are a little bit, but they're rainbow colored, so that makes them topical in politics today. Go ahead, Mike.
Right. But the point about that is here is the reason why that is done. It is to get you to leave analysis and move to emotion.
Yeah,
that is what it is designed to do, and you know, it is in many cases effective at doing that. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that what they're pushing for is bad, because they're asking you to do that. In most cases, I would submit to you it's used by the left, and you know, if you're a lefty, you're gonna love that. That's fantastic. But no, that's what it's designed to do. And so I personally advocate remaining in this seated firmly in the analytical point of view. And well,
that's because you're a guy, a traditional guy-centered guy, and you don't use that other tactic as much. But using the football analogy, if our local team, wherever you're sitting right now, if our local team was beat by Socialist High School of San Francisco, okay? And if they came in and just trounced us 70-0,
it'd be kind of humiliating.
It would be kind of humiliating. Yes. And what are the lessons now? And this next little lesson, we're going to play all of what Dave Strahan has to say. Not my favorite guy.
Yes.
And Rika Brown falls into the category. Nothing that necessarily that they say where I don't agree with everything, except they're both in favor. They're perfect examples of people who are in favor of they should be allowed to speak, and people with whom they disagree should never be allowed to speak. Really.
Agreed. Yeah.
And they laugh about the idea that, well, let's cut out, you know, this is un-American to me. Dave Strahan and Rika Brown are un-American.
I agree. Let's ship them out of here. Let's
that's
doing
the
aliens.
Same thing. Okay, so yes, I love to let them speak, and you'll see that almost all of Dave Strahan's speeches here, because it's such an example of what not to do. You'll see he's got so much to say. He's trying to put 5 pounds of in a 3-pound bag. You will see. Go ahead, Dave Strahan. Take it away, old Dave.
My name is Dave Strahan from Grants Pass, Oregon. As a fourth-generation local, I've been fortunate for the last 35 years to have supported and raised my family working as a wholesale distributor, salesman of fishing, camping, marine, and shooting sports merchandise, servicing retailers throughout Southern Oregon into Northern California. Much of my current territory encompasses the areas directly supported by the watersheds that are under threat of destructive nickel mining.
The waterways within the area under consideration are essential to the future of our salmon and steelhead population. The economy they support.
Come on.
Crescent City, California, Coos Bay and beyond is directly impacted by the economic benefits created by our fisheries. Many of our inland businesses are as well. The Smith River, Chaco River, Illinois River, Rogue River, Pistol River, and Hunter Creek are also very significant direct producers of the economy sustaining fish and are equally reliant upon healthy watersheds to produce. Beyond the sport and commercial fishing industries, the area also allows campers, rafters, hikers, hunters, and wildlife observers to come and contribute to our economy. Myself and many of my customers support not only a temporary but a permanent withdrawal from the market.
Whoa. Don't do that.
Yeah, that was just a connection of unintelligible syllables to me. I mean, every once in a while I was catching a word in there, but he's jamming them all together so tight that you can't really differentiate one from another.
Don't do that. So, okay, lesson learned. Don't try to learn any lessons from Dave Strahan. Okay, all right.
Yes, so. really. I mean, anything Dave has to say is, disregarded
but
entirely.
Just like Rika, just like Dave Strahan, I love to give them time. Please do talk, and then everyone will see how ridiculous this sometimes is.
And then when they're done just talking, disregard everything they said.
Yeah. So go ahead and play people from whom we can learn the other kind of lesson. Go ahead.
Okay.
These areas that we're considering are where those of us who live here go to recreate, to go fish, to spend time with our families, to rejuvenate our souls.
To allow a mining operation here and put the special botanical area at risk would, in my opinion, be a travesty.
My name is Michael Benham. I'm a senior environmental scientist, specialist at the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I represent the northern region of the department, which is comprised of 9 northernmost counties in California.
The 5 years, why wait 5 years when you can do it in 5 minutes? The Euro people, I deal with them, all of them, and I'll get all them involved. And we have some of the rarest flowers in the world. Billionaires come to see our flowers here. Why are we going to destroy something like that?
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, look, they could just as easily have someone get up the Waldo mining district and the this mining district and the that mining district. Now, they're not going to come out. And these Yurok and all the rest of these guys, Native Americans, they're not going to come out in force and they're going to be doing their dance. No, but it sounds very effective. It sounds very effective. And that guy, the scientist that came up from the California Department of Scientists or whatever, that sounded very impressive. So those are 2 bookends on this. You got one guy that's, hot, hey, we're going to really smash their faces. And you got the other guy, well, we got the scientific facts. What? There's nobody that's in the, where are we? There's nobody in the saving animal lives community that could be brought in from Portland State to talk about the value of animals in our life. Come on, of course they could do that. Of course. So you pay us bus fare. Got a problem with that? Just how dedicated are you? Go ahead, keep playing.
And Chinook runs that require withdrawal, permanent withdrawal from mineral entry. We don't need mining of any of this area.
My name is Tom Romsberg. I'm a utility manager with the city of Crescent City and I'm operating the water plant over there. And I'm here to represent the city and the city council.
My name is Brad Campbell. I'm from Gadsden, California. I've been a shuttle driver for the Smith River, only shuttle driver for the last 31 years. I also do shuttles on the Illinois, the Rogue, and the Chaco.
My name is Rick Bennett, and I'm sort of at the end of the line as far as the river goes. I live on the North Fork of the Smith River, and my drinking water comes from the Smith River, along with some of my friends and neighbors, and we can't have a strip mining to take away our drinking water, and that's simple as that. Thank you.
Grant Worskell, Delaware County, and I appreciate that you're allowing some of us that are driving farther to speak up. It is actually a very unique thing when in a county you have our board of supervisors, our city council, every water agency, all these different organizations, all asking for the same thing. It gives us goosebumps really, and we appreciate the opportunity to support a 20-year mineral withdrawal, permanent withdrawal, thank you. And on the economic side, it is true that just in the Smith River in the last 10 years, there's been over 80 million of non-federal investment in salmon protection and restoration that's gone on in the basin. So that's another side of the economic development that we really appreciate. So thank you for your work on it, and we look forward to supporting it all the way through.
Good afternoon, my name is Patty Terry. I live near Crescent City, and that's not too close. And I'm here today to support the proposed withdrawal. While the city of Smith River in California flows through the Smith River National Recreation Area and Redwood National and State Parks.
Okay, so what have we seen here? When you're doing your organizing, and it's just, you have to roll back a little bit. Oh, that's a lot of work, Dale. Get over it. When you're doing your organizing for animal rights gathering, you know, to convince people what to do, don't hesitate to bring people in from out of the area. Why? That's cheating. No, it's not. That's smart. Because people, it makes it seem like you're the center of activity that's pulling people in that will come as far away as from Gasky or wherever to come and be there, to be counted, to be having your voices. It's impressive to some people who aren't thinking straight how far these guys came. And how do you get them here? Mike, you know how they got them here. Go ahead, tell us how.
Teleportation, I believe.
Yes, that's what it was. Using metals dug from inside the earth.
Yeah, well, actually, that is true. Metals and then also petroleum that was mined from the earth. Now, I mean,
think of the huge carbon footprint they left just to get here. Go ahead.
The really funny part about this is that without the things that they're protesting against, they wouldn't have been able to make this trip.
No, they came on bicycles. What's the matter with you? Made out of metal?
Yes, yeah, made out of metal, and right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
tires, oil.
Yes, that's right. No, look, what they did is they put out the clarion call using Facebook. I don't like Facebook. It's new. Set up. Learn lessons. Even the courier has learned a lesson. My gosh, you wouldn't have thought that was possible.
Well, and the people that are organizing this kind of stuff, they are watching for the notification from the federal government. They know the stuff's coming. They've been tracking this legislation since its inception. And so they're waiting for, they know the procedure. That's how intimately involved these people are with this. And then they put out the call. And when people show up, they hand them buttons and okay, you know, we want to look like a unified force here.
They did look like you, and you already have that. You don't have to go on Facebook and click on, oh, I'm clicking so much. There's 3 clicks. You don't even need to do that. You're watching the show. We'll tell you when things are coming up, don't we? And you could go, oh, I believe very strongly in that. I like that, Mike and Dale. No. It's Dale and Mike. I like them, and I like what they're telling you. Well, telling me, okay, we're telling you when the meetings are coming. So you could tell your neighbor, if you feel the same way, hey, by the way, this meeting is coming. We're reaching out to you. We're doing it free, just as they are doing. They're motivated by something that is apparently stronger than some of your feelings. They're stronger. So you can't lay back and go, oh, they really beat us in that football game. If you don't want to be constantly beat, you better be learning lessons from this. Get organized.
You know, listen, I think that there's also, when it comes to an issue like this, is that, you know, in the media, we've been, you know, pummeled with this idea, you know, there's certain political correct things, you know, air, water, fish, all this kind of stuff. And people don't feel like they have an adequate counter argument to that, because you know, the other side is going to get angry with us and you know, say we're baby killers or something like that. And and I understand that that's a very difficult thing to face. I understand. I was there at this thing, and I could understand that it would be difficult to counter some of this stuff.
You've got your tool right in front of you. However, this is a show you're watching. No, we don't own a television station. You realize how expensive that is? No, we don't have that. We don't have national news on our side. We don't have television stations, even from Medford, on our side. We sure don't have KJO or the newspaper on our side. But this is a beginning. This is an internet television show. No, it's a weblog. It's not a weblog. I'm not telling you what we had for breakfast. By the way, what did you have for breakfast? Shut up. Okay, so what we are doing is this is an alternative way of getting television.
Tell you.
Yeah, alternative.
But now I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I ate it in and out today. I'll tell you about that another time. So
you did?
Yeah, I did. It was okay, but it was no big toots to me anyway. So the thing is that you do have a medium. This is an internet television station with no advertising. It could be just as big. It certainly does a lot more local politics than anybody else does, in depth discussions of things, whether you like them or not. I mean, they're in depth. And then we put up alternate, video of things that actually happen, and you can see it with your own eyes without listening to the blather of these two goons that are talking about it. All that's available to you. And so if you tell your neighbors, by the way, did you see that thing on the Dale and Mike show? No, who the heck is Dale and Mike? Well, you can tell them about it. The only way that we're going to get out there and get information to more people and organize is by using a tool. This is a perfect start, and you have it. But very much like, some of the people that we run across that are on our side. I got that document. Oh, you got that document? When'd you get it? Oh, I got it a week ago. Well, what are you doing with it? Well, I'm reading it. No, wait a minute. You're reading it and you're not sharing it with anybody? Well, I want to be educated. What about everybody else? Okay, I'm glad you got it. Good for you. But are you going to share it with everybody? Well, I paid $1.50 for it. Hey, snap out of it. Share it with everybody. Give it to us. We'll make sure everybody gets it. How'd we find out about the secret plan of manor development at the airport for drone building? We found it on their website and we shared it with everybody. Now, that's available to you, to the Courier, to KJO. Nobody else shared it with you. We did. We didn't go down to their place and, in the middle of the night with flashlights like the Watergate and try to grab some. We found it and we shared it with everybody.
Well, or we didn't get caught doing that.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. But the point is, you have this thing right in front of you and you can watch it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Now, how many people have you shared it with? Let's watch a little bit more and we'll share what we're seeing with you. Go ahead, Mike.
When was the last time we came to one of these events and our elected representatives and their staff were in support of something we also want? This is amazing.
It is. It is amazing.
It never happens for us.
My name is Jeff Layton. I live in Crescent City, California. Where I'm a CPA. I have an extensive legal background. And mostly my job is working with private foundations and nonprofit organizations across the United States. I'm also a member of the North Coast Gun Owners Association and was previously a board member of the American Whitewater, which is a national organization focused on river access, conservation, safety. In my time with American Whitewater, I had the displeasure of seeing a lot of rivers that, while flowing, are essentially dead. Because although the river looks clear and it flows, it can't support any quality of life. The Koei River is an example. We kind of all a bit of work that happened on the end of this river. Part of my job in the nonprofit community is ensuring that public assets are used for maximum public benefit. As I look at this, I see that we have a public asset here that is being used for virtually no public benefit and putting public assets at great risk.
Yeah.
Listen, I couldn't understand much more of what the guy was saying than any of you. Okay, I was getting like every third word. All right, so there's an example of a good thing to do and also bad things to do. If you're going to speak in front of this group, our group about animals, you better be clear and make sure that people understand what the heck it is that you're trying to tell them. I couldn't understand him, a lot of what he was saying. Now switch over to tape number 3, and we'll get through as much of that as we can, and then we'll say goodnight. Go ahead.
I just want to point out a couple of highlights of my job. I get to take people out in beautiful places and pristine places, and I get to connect them to these places in a really simple, visceral way by catching fish. We poke them in the mouth, we reel them in, we hold them, we smile with them. Sometimes we keep them, a lot of times we release them. And I know that if I do that today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, in 10 years, I can keep doing it, and I can make a living doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm sucked into the argument. This guy is talking about, okay, they were talking about also the little dredge miners, which I talked about at the end of the meeting. And the little dredge miners could stir up the turbidity of the river, you know, and make it cloudy, dirty, and that's not good for the fish. Well, this guy goes out, and his job is catching and killing fish. Sometimes we let them go. But as the fish are gasping for air and fighting for their lives and drowning in oxygen, they hold them up and smile. Ooh, look at this. This fish is dying. Really? And this is respect for the coho?
I don't have any problem with fishing and catching fish and taking pictures or taking them home and eating them. I don't have any problem with that
Don't tell me
at
that
all.
you respect the life of the trout or whatever in the coho while you're killing them by strangling them to death.
He believes that. He believes it. And listen, he would tell you that fishermen fishing licenses are going toward the restocking of that stuff is a circular thing. But I think he's completely whacked out of his mind when it comes to suction dredge
killing fish.
I don't think that does that at all.
You want killing fish. I'm not saying you do, but if you wanted to talk about killing fish, 300,000 fingerlings dead in a couple of hours because some fool forgot to replace the filter. Well, I was having my lunch and I forgot to replace the filter. 300,000.
Yeah.
Now you don't see any rallies about that.
Yes, and on top of that, look what happened here the other day over at Fielder Dam. They took the dam out, and then all of a sudden, all of this stuff went down the river and killed a crap load of fish. I don't know.
Is that a technical term, Mike?
Yes, a crap load. It's a lot. It means a lot.
A lot. Oh, okay. All right. Next video, please.
I want to acknowledge the absurdity of that we're here tonight talking about this, and the absurdity of
that is absurd
proposals and the absurdity of the 1872 Mining Act.
Oh.
I support the 20-year withdrawal and permanent withdrawal. I think the 1872 Mining Act is archaic. It needs to be amended, but if the only way we can protect these wild streams right now is the withdrawal, then I think we should do that.
I want to let you know that the coast is here to support you. I heard last night there was as many as 300 people at that meeting. So I'm very inspired to see the coast and the valley working together on this issue. I think it's amazing. We cannot jeopardize a growing travel and tourism industry. This is an existing industry with jobs that cannot be exported. We cannot risk this for a potentially new industry that has catastrophic effects on the environment.
Yeah, you know what? This wanting to attack the 1872 Mining Act. How many miners have 1872 rights? I mean, that has to be just a little teeny, very small quantity of the miners, and they don't even want to allow those people to mine. I mean, we went up to the Sugar Pine mine. There is effectively zero environmental impact from that.
But Dave Strahan was out in front of the county courthouse, and he was objecting to the fact that there's people in his community. It took us 45 minutes to get there. You couldn't find it if you didn't know exactly. And they're out there, and they've got guns, Mike. They've got guns. Think about the children that might happen to walk along there. They're leaving behind breadcrumbs. They're going through the woods. Dave Strahan, this was the press conference they had where someone tried to ask him a question and said, "This is a press conference. We're not answering questions." Really? That's a paraphrase.
Yeah, that's funny.
Come on. What do you work with? They've got guns and they're out in the woods. Let me assure you, buddy, there's a bunch of people. It's not me, but they're out there with guns in the woods right now. Saturday night, they're out there with guns. But look, these guys are what they're doing in here, and it's very effective, is they're coordinating, they're bringing in people from all over the place, they're getting the crowd worked up. This crowd got more and more worked up as the evening went on, and it ended in a crescendo of just continuous applause, one person after another. I cut a lot of that out so that you could hear what they were saying. And the people who were there that were going to report back to the governor, they're going to report back, it looks like we've got Josephine County in our pocket. That's how they did it.
Yeah, and actually, you know, this action applies to a lot more than just Josephine County. I mean, they showed some big map and how many million acres or something that this covers. And I think it was 1.5 million acres or some darn thing. But yeah, I mean, what other impression could they possibly come away with?
Now, there were no cameras except for ours. Well, there's some guy in the back that refused to say who we were shooting for.
There was, and here's the screwy part. There was cameras there from the news stations, and they ran zero video from this.
Right. They were out in front. And apparently they did one live report from out in front, but they never posted it anywhere. That live report from Channel 5 is going to last precisely, oh, I can't do it, but you know what I mean. Nothing, okay? So if you didn't happen to, if you blinked your eyes, you weren't going to see it. And you know what they do. They shoot all this footage and then they play back 30 seconds and talk over half of it.
Right.
This is a little bit different in that you can tell your friends about it, and you could tell your friends about it. It's a possibility, you know. And then they could go see the video of that, and it's going to be up there for, well, on the internet forever, as long as there's internet. But at the very least, it's going to be at the top of our website for a whole week. And people could go and see that, and it does make a difference. Tell them how it made a difference with those fire guys out in Merlin, Mike. Please tell them about that. Briefly, tell them about that story, please.
Well, you know, last week the commissioners were talking about the new fire service standards that they were going to, you know, that they had in draft form and they're editing. I don't know. Is there a final on that? Have they finalized any of that, or is that coming up in upcoming
no, they haven't
meetings?
Finalized. They haven't finalized.
So in any event, we did a show about that on Sunday night, and then on Monday we had these the guys on the program from County Fire and Security, and then on Wednesday they had a meeting that apparently was attended by about 150 people, and
the results were, for these guys over my shoulder here, the results were they got what they wanted. Now, the battle's not over, but they got what they wanted, and they credit this show, and this that right here that we're doing with them. They credited that Monday show for getting what they wanted, and which was the outfit that wouldn't let them join, because we don't have any rules that allow you to join after saying they could. They suddenly get this email like 6 o'clock in the morning saying, oh, did we say you couldn't join? Well, what we meant was, of course you can join. In fact, you're already members. Why? Welcome to the member. Hey, you know, that's what did it for them. We have some power here to influence things. We do have some power because now you finally have media on your side. So let's see if there's a couple more lessons we can learn from this meeting, and then we'll let it drift off into the vagaries of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Native Fish Society is an Oregon-based conservation nonprofit, and we advocate for wild native fish and the rivers. I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of our 3,000 members and supporters, and our 80 watershed-based river stewards who are in Idaho, Oregon, Washington, California.
Recently, the Department of Forestry have been running radio campaigns encouraging families to experience the outdoors, including seeing the redwoods. Let's push this. This push is wonderful, but we have to protect our resources now and not later. It's scary if we can't protect what we have left.
Yeah.
Now, she was just saying the Department of Forestry has been running radio ads that are public service announcements to get them for free, telling people that they can experience the outdoors. Now,
yeah, I've heard those.
We have some state legislators that believe the same way that a lot of very conservative people do, I'm not saying that all conservatives should always win. I'm not saying all liberals should always win, but we have some people. Do you think that what's his name, the cheater guy that runs KJO Rotary Radio? You know who I mean, Carl Wilson. Carl Wilson is a legislator, and he owns the radio station. Do you think maybe a visit to Carl, or he's here now, they're out of service? Out of service? Well, yes, really, most of the time. But I mean, they're not in session right now. If you go up to Carl Wilson and say, Carl, as a legislator and as the owner of the radio station, would you please run some public service announcements saying, save the animals, or whatever it is that our cause is? Now, he's going to say, no, I don't want to. Well, of course he can. Easily done, right? And not as easy as snapping your fingers, but as easy as clapping your hands. You could do that. All right, so would you please talk to him and say, Carl, we're interested in saving the animals and the children and the daffodils and the sunshine. We want to do that. And ask him to run some public service announcements on your behalf. What's hard about that? Can you get that stuff out there? She just said that the state government was doing this to encourage people to blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. You can have that kind of thing too. What's the matter with your organization that you're not doing that? Why isn't that near the top of your agenda? Hello, SORA, Southern Oregon Resource
Alliance.
Alliance, right? Are you an alliance or nothing? Would you please talk to your good pal and say, hey, we want you to do certain things. Talk about the value of clear cutting or whatever it is that you feel. I'm exaggerating. It's just for comic effect, but not so comical. But you could do that. So don't just sit there crying, oh, I don't know what to do. Shut up and do something. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm done.
Play more videos,
Oh,
and then we're going to say goodbye.
Play more videos.
Don't play more videos. Okay, I'm done with videos. We're finished with these videos. Okay, but these guys are not finished. Okay, I know it was a little painful tonight for some people. Okay, but we can learn lessons. We can duplicate some of it. I'm never going to duplicate someone that disagrees with me. What are you, a fool? Come on now. Okay, of course you can. And you can do some of the things that they do, and you can use them for your own issue. I'm for libraries. Okay, cool. Use this technique in your library campaign or whatever your campaign is. Get your message out there. Would you please pay more attention to, you've got somebody in the media that's on your side. We're on your side whether you're for things that we don't agree with or not, because we're going to put you up and let you sink or swim on your own. Okay, I mean, you've got things to say. If they're goofy, we're going to play them. And if they're smart, we're going to play them. We're going to play both. And then you've got your chance to get out there, and then you say to people, like I've shared some of this footage with the KS Wild kind of people, and not necessarily with them, but well, of course they're interested in seeing that. Why wouldn't they be? Okay. And also with the people who are saying, well, I'm for minors and minors' rights. Great. I'm sharing it with them too. We can all learn lessons from this. And why wouldn't they all want to see this? This isn't Mike's personality out there. It's not mine. It's all these people talking, and we're giving them a chance to say their opinions. We can do that. You finally now have somebody that's not going to cover up the news. We're the only ones doing it. And you need to let people know, not because we need your monetary support. Screw that. Okay? Mike would disagree. But what we need is we need to wield a little influence. You can wield influence, and we'll give you, like we did with the people yesterday. I said in front of his office, you can speak for as long as you want. You know how long each of them took? About 45 seconds. You can speak as long as you want. 30 seconds. You can speak as long as you want. Now you don't want to say anything. When was the last time the media said you could speak as long as you want? That's why we're here. Would you please do it?